Texans are parting ways with quarterbacks coach Jerrod Johnson, the only quarterbacks coach that has been there with C.J. Stroud since 2023 when he had an incredible rookie season. And it's not an entire and complete surprise, and yet I don't want to overstate this. This is the move. This is probably the biggest move in the history of the Houston Texans. That's an overstatement. I think this is the biggest move of the offseason so far. Hopefully with some positive changes to come. And we're kind of left wondering, okay, why the change now? Jerrod Johnson had interviewed for multiple offensive coordinator spots, but what does it mean about C.J. Stroud? What does it mean about the structure of the organization? Is the new quarterbacks coach going to make a difference? And a lot of you have questions about Case Keenum. I get it. I had the same questions initially myself, but Adam Schefter reporting this morning that Jerrod Johnson and the Texans are parting ways. Aaron Wilson reported that it was mutual, and then Aaron Wilson also reported that the new quarterbacks coach will be Jerry Schuplinski. We'll get it right. Here's C.J. Stroud on Jerrod Johnson just about a year ago today when he was asked about Jerrod Johnson potentially getting opportunities for a job. C.J. pretty much lays out why Jerrod Johnson was so close to him.
Yeah, Jerrod. I've known Jerrod since I was 16. I was in the Elite 11 with him. He was my quarterback coach there. And one thing, man, I can say about Jerrod, man, is like when you talk about someone who knows how to play the position of quarterback and knows how to relay something, but also just a great person, man, a guy who loves football. He loves Houston. He loves Texas. He loves his family. He's a great family man. And somebody who's taught me just a tremendous amount of information. But on top of that, man, put a lot of confidence into me as well. Like when I was 16 at Elite 11, we did like this little like circle group. It was like all the quarterbacks in my group. And Jerrod's one thing for me was like, be confident. Because at that time, like I wasn't really the highest recruit. I wasn't who I will become, you know what I'm saying? And I always knew that it would be a possibility, but I didn't hear it out like those type of the Jerrod's I looked up to, like he played at Texas A&M, I knew that, and stuff like that. And when he was like, man, you need to be more confident, like, and it was just like it changed my life, you know what I'm saying? And from there, like fast forward, I'm here with him my rookie year. It's been just a blessing to work with him, and whatever happens, man, I'm excited for him, and he deserves everything that's coming for him.
All right, my volume is down apparently. I apologize. I'll just talk louder. I don't know how to change. Oh, wait. We'll do that. Maybe that'll work. Let me know if that works. Look, CJ, very close to Jerrod Johnson. The questions and the speculation could run rampant and as to why they made the split. Was CJ cool with it? Did CJ decide they wanted to move in another direction? Did Nick Caley decide that maybe there were just too many voices in the room? For a little bit of clarity, let's look at some of Jonathan Alexander's reporting on this morning. This is the move, though big, isn't a huge surprise. When Caley was hired in 2025 offseason, he brought in Schuplinski, fellow John Carroll graduate, yes, who coached Tom Brady for 3 years in New England as an assistant quarterbacks coach. He won 3 Super Bowls while on that staff. Pretty ambitious, saying, as an assistant quarterbacks coach to Tom Brady starting in 2013, I don't know if at that point the assistant quarterbacks coach is coaching Tom Brady as much as maybe shagging balls and asking for advice from Tom Brady, but he's been around. Then after he left the Patriots from 2019 to 2025, over the course of 6 years, he was with 5 different teams: the Raiders, the Chargers, the Texans, and a couple of other ones. I can't remember which ones. But it was kind of 1 and 2 year stints at those places. So it's not like this is a guy who's been in super high demand all over the place. But Nick Caley did like him. And we know that because, let's see, Caley leaned a lot on Schuplinski's expertise, which perhaps in some ways may have drowned out the voice of Johnson, whose relationship with Stroud kept him on the staff after the firing of former offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. So, I'm not going to quibble with the exact phraseology of that. The relationship with Stroud keeping him on staff, you could read into that a million different ways. A lot of people respect Jerrod Johnson. I respect him just as much as I know about him as a person and everything else like that. But when it comes to, okay, how much of an influence was he on C.J. Stroud in either a positive or a negative direction? It's kind of like hitting coaches in baseball that it's sometimes they get too much credit when somebody's hitting really well. Sometimes they get too much blame when somebody's not hitting well. And ultimately, it falls on the quarterback himself. I have wondered at times when I see C.J. Stroud out there at practice, and they've got so many different advisors and senior members and this and that. They got a lot of voices and smart voices in the room helping C.J. Stroud out. But sometimes just clarifying things and getting guys that are just 100% in the same mindset as the offensive coordinator, it might be as simple as that. Without any reports of strife or tension or anything, I hesitate to speculate on anything positive or negative about that. I think that you are starting to get to a point now where C.J. Stroud had that great rookie season, and since then he's shown advancement in ways that aren't necessarily reflected in the overall stats, but he also hasn't had the production that we've all hoped for. And then obviously we have the blemish of these last couple playoff games. I think that if you look at Nick Caley, or Bobby Slowick, Jerrod Johnson, various other people that have come and gone, it's still mostly is going to fall right now on Nick Caley and C.J. Stroud. And the quarterback's coach, however much of an asset he can be, I'm not going to look at Schuplinski as the guy. I mean, tell me, the guys who are quarterbacks coaches who then go on to great acclaim elsewhere, I mean, there have been guys like Andy Reid, Shane Steichen and the work he did with Justin Herbert, and then Jalen Hurts. Like, those guys, I think, had a definite impact as quarterbacks coaches. Steichen was a quarterbacks coach with Justin Herbert, then went on to be the offensive coordinator with the Eagles. So we'll see. I mean, I wish the best for Jerrod Johnson. I don't know if this is the one thing all of a sudden that's going to put them over the top, but it's a very, very notable change. And I think the structure, if I'm still quiet, I apologize. Let's see. Is it really surprising that Caley wants to surround himself with his own guys? He brought no staff with him. That's a good point. Kamka, Kemka. I never know how to pronounce your name. And I don't think it's a surprise. And I think sometimes when you come in and you don't bring your own staff, that first year is kind of a feeling out of, okay, who am I on the same wavelength as? Who do I agree with philosophically? And maybe there was just a disconnect there somewhere. It's not good or bad. It's just that some guys just have a different view about the way things are supposed to go and happen. I am really curious about what CJ feels about all of this. At some point during OTAs, CJ is going to be asked about this. I think CJ in these situations is always really good about giving diplomatic answers. That we're right now where CJ's gotten nothing but abuse from blowhards like me and everybody else over the last few weeks. I think that one of the things I would really credit CJ with is that he generally handles situations like this pretty well. He's been a good, I hate to say soldier, because I hate the football versus and military comparisons, but he's been a good soldier when it comes to answering stuff like this, whether he agrees with something philosophically or not, at least publicly. He doesn't say anything that's ever necessarily all that scandalous. Jerrod's going to go back to A&M. Aaron Wilson reported that he's got other opportunities. Case Keenum. As far as Case Keenum goes, yes, immediately. And when we reported this on Sports Radio 610 this morning, that was by far the most common comment that we got. Okay, there he is. He's a free agent right now. He was on a one-year deal with the Bears. Go ahead and bring in Case Keenum, because Case Keenum was there his rookie year when C.J. Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons ever. 100%, I agree with you. Here's the problem. Two problems here. One, Case Keenum made $3 million last year to be the emergency quarterback for the Bears and got a lot of credit for helping Caleb Williams along. And he's only 37 years old, which is odd because he's been around forever. In my mind, Case Keenum, partly because he was at U of H for 6 years, partly because it was 2013, long ago when he was drafted, and then partly because he's just kind of an old soul. I would have thought he was 40 already, but he's still a relatively young man. My guess would be that Case wants to keep playing football, especially at $3 million per year, give or take. I mean, the Bears might decide that they want to keep him along. If Case Keenum ever does decide to go into coaching, I would 100% want him in Houston. I think he's exactly what a young quarterback needs, but I don't know if that's necessarily right, what they would want or need right now, or if it's going to be even available to him. And then also in lines with the structure and Caley maybe wanting his guy, Schuplinski, that, again, going back to the old John Carroll, New England Patriots pipeline, there seems to be there's some common ties between those guys that they all appreciate. Let's see. Oh, didn't see what that was. Get all Caley's guys, fire more people if necessary, give him his draft picks, and then we can properly assess Nick and CJ. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, really this offseason isn't going to be as much about the quarterback coaching decision or who's coaching the quarterback. Whoever is, whether it's Schuplinski or Jerrod Johnson, or if they had been able to bring in Case Keenum or something, those guys are all going to be better quarterbacks coaches if the offensive line is better and if the running back situation is better. If they can run the ball effectively, if they can pass protect better for longer durations, because that was part of it this year. I thought Caley did a good job and CJ did a good job of getting the ball out of CJ's hands quickly. I think they can improve, obviously, in the blitz pickup and some of the quarterback-directed part of that, but also with the offensive coordinator giving the quarterback options when they're facing overload blitzes, when they're facing cover zero blitzes. That's on Caley and CJ himself. And hopefully the 3 offensive linemen that the Texans bring in free agency or via the draft. Last year, the Bears, before the draft ever occurred, had traded for 2 veteran offensive linemen and signed another offensive lineman in free agency. And it worked out really, really well. They got better this year in a lot of ways as an offensive line. They're not a physically dominating and imposing offensive line. And then all of a sudden, you have that, and you can stick in a ham sandwich at quarterback, and that ham sandwich is going to be the best damn ham sandwich it could be behind in those elements. And add to that the running back as well. What was the big running back move or potential move that I was just thinking about earlier? Oh, David Montgomery might be available for by trade, because the Lions have too many good players. They can't pay them all. David Montgomery kind of took a backseat to Jahmyr Gibbs this year, and there's a really good chance that the very combo that I had wanted and hoped for when the Texans drafted Woody Marks was, oh, wow, if you got a Joe Mixon and you got a Woody Marks, 2 different body types, 2 different skill sets, that's a 1-2 punch like you've got up in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Now it looks like you could actually have David Montgomery back there at a much lower cost or price or trade compensation than some of the other options out there. He's not my ideal number 1 candidate, but I would love to spend all the money and all the draft picks on offensive line and get a guy like David Montgomery. If it's not going to be Breece Hall or somebody else, I think Gainwell out of Pittsburgh is a very viable option. He's not as enticing as a Breece Hall, but if you combo him with Woody Marks and you've got a stud offensive line up there, then you're off to the races. Super Bowl champions. There will be no excuses. Is Josh Jacobs available for a trade? I've seen that floated around. He's better than a Montgomery. That's an interest. You know what? I'll add him to my list of potential trade targets and try to do a running backs thing here at some point. So thanks, everybody, and hopefully there's more big moves to come in the coming weeks. Like, subscribe at your leisure.